Hey guys, so we're getting to the end of our groceries. It's almost grocery day, and so I'm gonna fix up some cabbage soup. It is a perfect recipe for when your groceries are getting lower and you have just the ends of vegetables left or a random thing of ground turkey in your freezer. So yeah, let's get started. So for this recipe, you're gonna need some kind of protein. We are gonna go with ground turkey because it's what we had in our freezer, but it would also be amazing with ground beef. And if you're a vegetarian, you could definitely do beans. My oldest child doesn't really like beans very much, so I'm going to not put beans in it, but it would be amazing with like a white bean. And then you're going to need a whole head of chopped up cabbage, just like I've done right there. And then any vegetables that you want, although I recommend doing some celery and carrots as a base, and then whatever vegetables you have laying around. So right there, I have a whole chopped white onion, and then with my celery at the bottom there is 1.5 diced green peppers, and I have some carrots. I really like to use large carrots, but I ended up using baby carrots because that's what we had. And then I have one chopped tomato that I had left over in the fridge that was about to go bad. And then I have some roasted red peppers from the jar right there. And then I'm also gonna add in some corn. I just have a bag of frozen corn, so I'm gonna throw that in as well. And then other things that you'll need are some minced garlic, some chicken broth or vegetable broth if you are vegetarian or vegan, and then a can of tomato paste. And then I have some olive oil as my fat, but you could use butter. And then also my seasonings. I'm gonna go with garlic powder, chives, cayenne, just a little bit of cayenne because my kids are definitely gonna be eating this. Some smoked paprika, a little bit of turmeric, and some of this seasoning that I got from Trader Joe's. Obviously this is not a vegan recipe, but I do like this seasoning, so that's gonna go in there. And then I also have some fennel seeds. I'm only gonna add a little bit of that, but it adds a really nice soupy flavor. And then I obviously have salt and pepper back there, and some nutritional yeast for added nutrition. I love to throw this in my recipes when the kids are eating what I'm making, which is like 99% of the time. And it is fortified with vitamins. So you can see right there what it's fortified with. Yes, I know it has folic acid, which isn't the best, but it is what it is. So we're gonna put that in there. And then I also have some apple cider vinegar because it does need some kind of acid to break down the cabbage and give it a little bit more flavor. You could use lemon juice or any type of vinegar. Sherry wine vinegar is also great, but this is what we had on hand. And then also, I have yet to decide if I'm gonna add in one of these onion mushroom soup mixes for flavor. They're really high in sodium. I can show you right here. So I'm not sure, and they're really not the best for you. They're kind of a processed ingredient. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but I might add one in this time. I had them laying around in my pantry, so I figured why not. All right, let's get started. So I put a few glugs of olive oil in my stock pot, and then I turned it up to high, and then I added in my turkey, and I'm gonna let that cook down, and then I'm gonna add in my spices. So we got our ground turkey all nice and browned up, and now I'm gonna go ahead and add in my spices. So I'm gonna start with some garlic powder, and no, I'm not measuring, I'm just doing it until my heart says to stop. Garlic powder, and then I'm gonna add in a little bit of turmeric, and then I'm gonna add in some smoked paprika. I like the smoked one, it gives a little bit more depth of flavor. Just a tiny bit of cayenne, some of this vegan chickenless seasoning from Trader Joe's, I'm going to add in some chives, dried chives. Probably add a little bit more once I can use both my hands better. And then salt and pepper I'm going to do off camera because I need both my hands for that. Alrighty, I added all my spices to my stock pot, and then I'm now going to mix up the turkey and scrape the bottom of the pan to get it all nice and mixed. Also hard to do with one hand, but we're gonna make it work. So after I mix this, I'm gonna let it sit for a little while and get nice and brown. And then I'm going to deglaze the bottom of the pan with my apple cider vinegar. Okay, so I've deglazed the pan with the apple cider vinegar, and now we're gonna start adding in some vegetables. So we're gonna add in our chopped onion, and we're also gonna add in our roasted red peppers. And then I'm gonna add in my tomato. I'm gonna give that a quick mix, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I gave that a mix and let it cook down for a few minutes, and now I'm gonna add in some more vegetables, not the rest of them, but just some more of them. So here is our cup of carrots, and I'm also going to add in my cup of celery and my cup of diced green peppers. And I am not convinced that all of my cabbage is going to fit in this pot, so we're gonna have to see what we're gonna do about that. All right, so I gave that a quick mix, and my solution is that I'm gonna have to add in half of my cabbage now and half after it cooks down a bit. It's probably not the greatest way to do that, but this is the only pot that we have clean right now, so that's how we're gonna have to do it. So I've got my cabbage right here, and I'm just gonna start adding it to my pot. Probably half of it is gonna fit. I'm sure this would be much easier without a baby attached to you, but add half of your cabbage, mix it up, and then we'll talk in a minute. Okay, so I added in a big tablespoon of minced garlic and an entire 6-ounce can of organic tomato paste. Now I am going to take my chicken broth, which is reduced sodium, which I recommend if you're going to add like a soup packet to this or any extra added salt, because it will get very salty. So this is a 32-ounce box of reduced sodium chicken breast, not breath. And I'm going to add this directly to my pot. Just like that. And then I am going to add in 2 bouillon cubes with probably like 2 or 3 cups of water until the cabbage is covered. I'm not going to mix it. I'm just going to let it simmer down. And once it's simmered down, we're going to add in the rest of our cabbage and cook it down again. All right, so I ended up adding in those 2 bouillon cubes right there, and also 3 whole cups of filtered water. And now I am going to put the lid, that is sweet tea right there, in case you're wondering what that grossness is. And I'm going to let this cook on medium-high heat until it looks significantly reduced and until my tomato paste starts to blend in with the rest of the soup, and then we will chat. All right, so it's been about 20 minutes, and this is what the soup looks like. It's still very full because I've had the lid on the entire duration of 20 minutes. I added another small handful of cabbage in there and then mixed it around. I'm gonna leave the lid off for probably 20 more minutes and see if I can get some of the liquid to evaporate a little bit and get a more concentrated flavor. And then I'll probably add in just a little bit more of my cabbage. I'm not gonna be able to fit the remainder probably because my pot is too small. It's definitely much better when you put all the cabbage in there. So use your bigger pot than this small pot. Yeah, so we'll check back in after some of this liquid has evaporated. Looks super yummy though. I decided that I am going to add in one of these onion and mushroom soup mixes. I think it'll give it a bigger depth of flavor. So yeah, I'm gonna add in one of those. I didn't add any salt yet because I didn't know if I was gonna add this in since this is so high in sodium. So this should be enough salt, but if not, I will add some more. And then I almost forgot that I was gonna add in this corn. So I think I'm gonna add in about a half a bag of this frozen corn. It is really meeting its limits right now with the pot. I'm gonna give this a stir and then we'll check back in. So I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in my ingredient list, but I forgot to mention that I added it, and that is fennel. Fennel is a very common seasoning found in like Italian sausage and breakfast sausage. So this really gives it such a depth of flavor that I feel is super important to this soup. Yeah, it smells great, it tastes great. You only need a small sprinkle of it and it will make the whole pot of soup taste and smell delicious. So I definitely recommend this if you were thinking about omitting it from the recipe. It's pretty cheap to find. You can find it just with your normal spice section of your grocery store, and I really like it. So I definitely think this is important. So we're still bubbling away. It is taking a while. That is because cabbage holds so much water, you guys. So if you think that this is taking a very long time when you're cooking yours, you're probably right and nothing's wrong with your recipe. It does take a while for the water to boil down. If you're trying to make this quicker, you could add in less of the water, but it may change the flavor a little bit if you add in less of the water. But yes, it does take a while. Cabbage holds a ton of water. Also, I'm not sure if you guys have this distant childhood memory of like the smell of chili or the smell of soup cooking when it's about to be fall, like the end of summer. Not sure if I'm the only one who has that memory, but this is exactly what that smells like. So if you want some nostalgia scents going on in your house, then make this soup. All right, so the volume in the pan has definitely, or the pot has definitely gone down significantly. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this done. I'm gonna throw it in some bowls, and then you can put sour cream on it if you wanted to. I think that that would be pretty tasty. I'm not gonna eat mine with sour cream, but you could do that. And then you could also serve it with like a French crusty baguette or some cornbread. Either one of those would be really good to make it a full and complete meal. I'll show you how it looks in a minute. There is the final product. It looks delicious and I cannot wait to eat it. Hope you guys enjoyed the recipe.